Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is my normal slot in the month where I do a basement battle with Ecobaronen. That's where we play off-meta decks against each other. But it is just days after a big ban update for Legacy, so we decided to play post-ban decks we think are good rather than off-meta decks we think might have a chance because, guess what? New metagame. Who knows what's off-meta right now? The first deck that I think is great going into the new metagame is Izzet Delver. Izzet Delver was close, but slightly behind Reanimator, and close, but slightly even more behind Nadu, and those are the two decks that got banned. Izzet Delver's phenomenal versus any Ancient Tomb strategy, including Mystic Forge, where that is the obvious deck that didn't get banned. It's also a deck with a lot of burn, some cheap creatures with more than one power, and a bunch of Pyroblasts, which makes it line up well versus Tamiyo. That's the first deck I'll be playing today. For my next trick, Dimir Cloudpost. This is a deck that has been on my mind lately. I don't know that I've ever beaten it on camera with any deck that I've queued into it with. A number of people I trust have been reaching out to me privately, asking like, yo, have you seen this deck? This looks kind of real. And the One Ring being one of the cards that people thought might be banned, but wasn't. Being a One Ring deck that was already good in the previous metagame, lost two of the other top decks. This one survived basically fully intact. I don't know how its meta position is going to change because, like I said, Delver-style decks just got a lot better, and that might be where a deck like this one struggles. But for now, here we are. This is Dimir Cloudpost. And my third deck for today's showdown is Cephalid Breakfast. Nadu was banned, but Cephalid Breakfast was a deck before Nadu. Cephalid Breakfast was a deck before Dread Return and Thassa's Oracle. This is a very old deck with many years, 2 decades of technology to pull from. And the Cephalid man himself, Johan Larsson, has already put up 2 trophies in the 24 hours since Nadu was banned, with this list playing for Tamiyo, of course. That's the other card that everyone thought would be banned but wasn't, and this list gets to just keep riding that. And Stoneforge Mystic as the pivot plan. Stoneforge can tutor Shuko if you are comboing, and tutor Cauldron Complete to bring the beats if you're not. Urza Saga, of course, a big part of this deck as well. That's the turn 2 combo, still fully intact with Nomads and Illusionist. Tamiyo's a problem. Urza Saga's a problem. Stoneforge Mystic's a problem. The multi-layer Esper Stoneblade deck that we had 2.5, 3 years ago that was doing really well, long before Nadu came along. These are my 3 decks for today. These were pretty quick deck techs, but that's because we got a lot to do today. I will be playing full leagues with many of these decks and others in the coming days, but right now we're going to showcase decks we think are good. I do not know what Ecobaronen is bringing with him. I actually assume we're both going to play this deck. I don't know if he would be so predictable as to bring Mystic Forge, but I think all of the decks I brought have game versus that. And this isn't about metagaming my opponent today. This is just about showing decks that we think are going to be good. Let's do it. Let's play some matches. I'm on the draw in round 1. I'm playing Cephalid Breakfast first, Delver second, and Cloudpost third. I do not know what I'm playing against here. I have a turn 1 Tamiyo and double Illusionist to play on. And it appears that we are up against Eldrazi. But guess what? Tamiyo. It's not banned. Let's go. I don't really like my hand for Eldrazi that much. I could answer a Chalice of the Void, but Ayavugan doesn't really cast that. Eldrazi Repurposer. Okay. This is a 3/3 that makes a 0/1 when it enters or dies. Trusty old Stoneforge Mystic. Unfortunately, I can't fetch basic planes here. I would love to basic planes get Shuko. I think I'm just going to have to accept that Wasteland's really bad for me here and invest in Stoneforge. I'm going to tutor Shuko. This makes land drops problems for the rest of the game. Checking that this doesn't have Secret Reach. It does not. Alright. Glaring Fleshraker. And with 5 cards left in hand and Ayavugan, his whole hand could come my way right now. Repurposer. This taps him out of Cavern, but this was a 1-mana spell that made 2 mana. And Lightning Bolted me. And he is representing Kozilek's Command for 2, which is pretty messed up here. That is a colorless Eldrazi spell. And he has the 2 colorless right here. And he has the Wasteland. If I draw a land right now, we might still be able to play. All right, never mind. I'm in big trouble. Yeah, this can take the Shuko, and then I'm just miles away from going off in every direction. And I'm under a ton of pressure. In addition to bolting me and Dark Ritualing multiple times, he also put 9 power into play this turn to go with the 3 power that was already there. All right, so I need to rip Brainstorm into multiple payoffs here, I guess. Okay, everybody's on blocking duty. Tamiyo has no room to attack here, and I'm going to hope to draw either the other Shuko or Brainstorm into Plains Nomad. And all of that still loses to multiple spells being cast this turn that just burn me out with Fleshraker, or just holding up Kozilek's Command and plucking my graveyard. He knows I don't have interaction. So that means the Brainstorm I need to draw next turn to find Nomad needs to find Nomad Plains Force of Will. We're still playing. I'm not ready to concede, but it is bad. Eldrazi is a deck that was quietly really good in the previous format. Again, another deck that took no bans. I wasn't really expecting it to. It doesn't play the One Ring generally, and I think Eldrazi is in a healthy place to be a part of the metagame for a long time right now. Just a mildly disruptive aggro deck. Jeez, Battle Mage, so this is going to exile Urza Saga. That worked out well. That doesn't change anything that I need to do, though, but it does deal 2 damage to me. I still need to draw Shuko or Brainstorm into the 3-card set that I already mentioned. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I do have to block everybody. I could keep Tamiyo alive by blocking Fleshraker and chumping. This is 3 life different than 4 life here? No. All right. And time to draw exactly Brainstorm. All right, dead. Against Eldrazi, we like Consign to Memory. Swords to Plowshares will be getting some consideration here. I don't think I want to Cabal Therapy them. Orum's Chant. So what are they going to do to Graveyard Hate Me? Obviously Kozilek's Command. And then I don't know if his list has Fairy Macabres or Leyline of the Voids, or if he's going to rely on Chalice of the Void plus Aggression to beat a combo deck like me. Tamiyo seems really slow here. I think the meaningful angles of this matchup are Cauldron Complete and a fast combo with Protection with Illusionist Nomad. I don't really think settling into being Blue-White Stoneblade is the line. If I do that, then I actually do like Tamiyo. What does that look like? So if I have all my Tamiyos and I have Stoneforge Mystic, my Consigns are in, of course. Plows are in. I'd probably cut a Shuko if I was going this route. Maybe a Shuko and a Narcomoeba would be cut if I did this. I think on the play I want to be able to combo. And maybe Swords to Plowshares can shut up and go away when I'm on the play. And then when I'm on the draw, I could consider being more of a control deck. Ponder could be a little slow for this matchup. I'm looking at either Narcomoeba or Ponder here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go -1 Narcomoeba. That stinks a little bit if I draw one. But you got to give up something. On the play, I am going to keep this. This is turn 1 Consign, turn 2 Tamiyo Brainstorm plus. And although I said Tamiyo is not really what I want to be doing in this matchup, this does play on basic lands. There are 2 islands and a plains. I can fetch them all. And I'm going to pass the turn with Consign up. I don't need Tamiyo in play here. I have Ugin passed to me. Undercity Sewers drawn. Now I am going to invest Tamiyo. It's suspicious that I didn't play Tamiyo when I had the chance. The possibilities here from his perspective are I just drew Tamiyo or I have Consign to Memory. Eldrazi Temple, this represents Kozilek's Command. I'm not going to fetch in the end step and give him a window where that's a card he can cast. And here we have Tamiyo proving why she's so annoying. I have this Consign to Memory, one of the premier counterspells in the matchup. But when he goes for this Kozilek's Command, I'm just going to Brainstorm instead. A thing I was going to do anyway, and I still get to keep the Consign. All right, he is Scry X, draw a card, and exiling Tamiyo. Get rid of Undercity Sewers and Narcomoeba. And then I will shuffle the deck before I draw for turn. Right, fetch, I'm going to keep playing on basics here. The Tamiyo. And I don't want to tap out for Stoneforge right now, though I guess getting Cauldron with Force of Will backup plays pretty well. Glaring Fleshraker. No thank you. With 7 cards in hand, countering the first thing is sometimes might be a little too jumpy, but we saw him cast 80 million cards last game with that. All right, now I have to be a little more discerning with my force. Yeah, Vamaya, okay. Now a real decision whether to fetch a tap land or a plains. I know I've been talking about playing on basics, but if I can find action right now, that's so good. I don't... So if I keep the Underground Sea, I can go Stoneforge for Shuko this turn, pitch to force. All right, I will keep the land. Because I only need white this turn. I don't need it next turn. Stoneforge Mystic. Tutor Shuko. Tamiyo, Get Back, Consign to Memory. Something's happening in response, Disruptor Flute. Force pitching Tamiyo on that. Have my Consign back. I'll play Shuko out. And he's in check, and I'm holding Consign. But 5 cards is a lot in hand. Oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to play the Shuko, because now the Battle Mage could exile it. I have Consign, but that's a Consign that I could have just not used instead. I'm trading so fast with this stupid thing. Okay, that's handled. Plus Tamiyo. Am I going to get smoked by Fairy Macabre here? How do I play around that if true? With Cabal Therapy boarded out, I don't actually have counterplay for that. There are exactly 2 Narcomoebas in my deck. Thassa's Oracle's in the graveyard. I'm just going for it. Okay, the first Narcomoeba has arrived. Second Narcomoeba has arrived. Checking the graveyard. Dread Return's not in there yet. You can make me draw a card with Kozilek's Command when the deck's empty, but we both know I have Consign for that. Yeah, it's basically Fairy Macabre or bust. I could play around Surgical, I guess, by waiting a turn and minusing Tamiyo on Force. Just gonna hope he doesn't have it. Cool. And there are decks that I would respect more to have it in that spot, but Eldrazi is just such a mopey deck with no card selection of its own. We saw a Kozilek's Command and a Disruptor Flute. It's not like he kept a hand with no interaction. I fended off multiple pieces. Okay, now do I want to take this Azoria Stoneblade posture? And if I do, what does that look like? Lavinia makes Kozilek's Command more difficult to cast, but I don't think I'm actually going to put that card in my deck here. That seems like a big mistake. Serenity could cook some number of Chalice of the Voids and Disruptor Flutes, but it could also cook all of my Urza Saga and everything I did with it. I don't think I want that card in this matchup. On the draw, I'm going to go minus Shuko, minus Ponder, and get +2 Swords to Plowshares in. Orm's Chant is interesting, because the kicker matters a lot in this matchup. Can I get this back in? How does that work? Is it better than Prismatic Ending? Prismatic Ending's really good against Flute and Chalice, but not very good against their creatures. Okay. And Disruptor Flute is probably a card he's playing in big numbers. Okay, I do think Prismatic Ending's better than Chant at the end of the day, though I wouldn't be sad to have Chant in my deck. Okay, Swords to Plowshare, Stoneforge Mystic. You never want to see Thassa's Oracle in your opening hand, but this hand does play Magic. Unless he's got a Chalice of the Void, then it really doesn't. And look who's here, right on time. Bad news, team. Well, that just became terrible. I've got a Nomad, and Stoneforge Mystic still plays into Chalice. Yeah, he's just showing Kozilek's Command. Alright, Stoneforge grabbing Kaldra is really the only plan here until I find one of my removal spells for Chalice. Oh, Dismember. Alright, so taking a bunch of damage to himself here. But that won't matter if he keeps the pressure up. I gotta hope his hand is just a bunch of reactive shit for graveyards. Like, if the hand is just 3 Fairy Macabres, this game could still play. One of my best draws here is Urza Saga. One of my best draws here is Prismatic Ending. I'm absolutely going to cast this Thassa's Oracle next turn. Hard cast Once Upon a Time, tapping Ancient Tomb to do it, and sacking a Lotus Petal. That's not pretty. That Thought-Knot's here is bad news, though. At any point where that arrives, my Kaldra is gone forever, and so is my main game plan. And he does have the land. Disappointing. Okay, so this game is pretty close to over. I need to answer Chalice and then pivot into comboing out, because now Kaldra is not going to be part of the game. He could be cheeky and take Thassa's Oracle, because that's closer to happening than Kaldra is. Either way, one of my game plans is gone. And if I cast Thassa's Oracle, it's pretty awkward that that's in play and not in the graveyard. I actually don't even know how I win this game anymore. Chalice of the Void with the full collapse. Well, I've already said it. Urza Saga is how I win this game. We took Swords to Plowshares. Interesting. No faith in that Chalice of the Void. Okay, he knows I drew this card. Yeah, I think I would still rather hide that information. Basic Island, Thassa's Oracle. I get to look at 2 cards here. Ooh, Prismatic Ending on top. Nice, okay. I found one of my buttons I can push. If Thassa's Oracle gets exiled, that's pretty awkward. If I just chump block and put it in the graveyard, that's where I want it anyway. Okay, deal. Deal. I draw for turn. Prismatic Ending the Chalice. Ponder. Another ending could back me up here. I definitely don't want Dread Return. No, I'm shuffling this. Urza Saga, wow. Alright, well, I do want that in play, but I also want this Tamiyo working. Alright, I have to take a turn off of Saga. This also might draw out a Wasteland if he's been sandbagging one. I've got a Repurposer. I hardly know her. Ha 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 ha. I'm at 14. I'm going to attack and draw a card first. So I have enough mana that if I draw Illusionist, I could just go for it. I draw a card. Another Tamiyo. Saga, get in. Nomad's Encore, get in. Investing up front, because I think this game is going to collapse pretty quickly in these last turns. Every mana that I don't need to spend on my combo turn is important to me. I'm also 1 land away from casting Cauldra. I have 1. Not that I want to draw 2 lands in a row. Don't get the wrong idea, deck. I hate to put that negative energy out there in the world. I'm just saying it's a fact. Kozilek's command for 4. This is delete my poor Nomad and scry 4. Scryed 1 to the top, 3 to the bottom. Chalice is back. Okay. I'm going to take half of my life total worth of damage right now. Chalice does not stop me from comboing. If I find an Illusionist, the Shuko can poop out here. I guess Tamiyo should attack. That makes my construct larger. I've got more Tamiyos where that came from. My plan here is end step, surveil land, hope for an Illusionist, fingers crossed, and also hope that his hand doesn't have any action in it, but he spent a lot of turns doing very little, which makes me think his hand still has a bunch of interaction in it. We saw Dismember and Kozilek's Command. Those are 2 strong cards that he could have kept on the strength of, but he just did so little for so many turns that I think there's more over there. Narcomoeba has to block. I'm letting the 1/1 die now, and then I'll have 2 4/4s next time my life total matters. Meticulous Archive. Swords to Plowshares. Sad. I gotta get rid of that one. Another one. 3/3. 4/4. Attack with Tamiyo, then I have 2 5/5s in play. Oh, missed a damage. Who needs it? Yeah, that damage actually matters a lot, and I'm a big dope. Okay, pass the turn. I was so focused on not dying, I briefly forgot how I actually win, and how I actually win is by dealing these last 10 damage to them. Okay, they've got a Dismember, putting them to 6. Being at 5 actually would have mattered there. And I am now deceased. Is there anything I can do? I should have cracked that clue in response to the Dismember to try to hit Force of Will, but I'm dead for Xaxes here. Okay, I mean, that was closer than I thought it was going to be, given the early Chalice and the Thought-Knot Seer, but we made a game out of that. On to the next match, Delver versus something. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. I don't know what I'm up against. I am going to keep this hand. It throws cards around like crazy. It doesn't have a threat yet, but it does have defense. I get to bobble him, try to get to understand what he's on, then bobble myself and decide if I like that card. A Wasteland. He's on a Wasteland strategy of some kind. Bobble me. Dragon's Rage Channeler. I do like that card, it turns out. I draw Dragon's Rage Channeler and one mystery card. Delver. Heck yeah. Dump him out, turn 2. Oh, look, we had the same idea. Unsurprising. I could fetch my basic island here, but I have so many lands that if he wants to spend time wastelanding me, I can live with that. Murktide Regent, that will eventually be very powerful. I'm willing to invest in it now. DRC, you know me. Do I want to play into Daze? Not really. So, if he sets him like on Daze and then also on Wasteland, I think I can work with that because I am holding the Murktide for the second wave of this game. Delver didn't flip. Delver is about 1/3 to flip in this matchup, or in this construction of the deck. Okay, so he had the first threat and the first cantrip, but I had the first land drop. I think I am going to brainstorm in my upkeep. I don't normally advocate for aggressively flipping Delvers using brainstorms, but in this matchup where getting the first attack through might matter a lot, and I have Dragon's Rage Channeler to get extra juice on this brainstorm. I do not want Polluted Delta. Brainstorm. Okay, I will put back the redundant Force of Will and Ponder. I'll show him Ponder, which also gives me Delirium when I cast it. Land, Ponder, dump Force of Will, Lightning Bolt, we love it. 1, 2, 3, do not shuffle, attack for 6. And I'm going to hold my horses on this bolt. Brainstorm from the opponent. So he's going to set up the same thing I just set up, but like I said, I got the first swing in. I dumped a Delver. I do want to respect Daze. I didn't respect it on the Delver back on turn 2, but now it's starting to look really good. All right. It seems we have all the same plans here, including the third land. He's still not interested in wasting me, recognizes the same thing I do, which is that Wasteland is a bigger liability than it is help when you're under this much pressure. I think I am going to take this hit. What I wouldn't want to do is bolt one of these and then get my force on his second main Murktide dazed. He's bolting my Channeler. I'll let it happen. I go to my turn. This is the land I knew was there. Play a land. I'll attack. My Murktide is currently 1, 2, 3, 6. I can make it 7. All right, yeah, I'm going to bolt his Channeler, then play a 7/7 Murktide to play around Unholy Heat. We're in there with the 7/7. Big numbers. There's probably one main deck Brazen Borrower that could fight this thing. Wasteland has arrived. Oh, there's the Brazen Borrower. Do you also have the Force? Do you have it all? Does indeed. Okay. So he's down to 1 card in hand. I can just replay this Murktide as a 4/4 next turn, which is still pretty big. Is his last card in hand his Murktide? If it is, I am in a lot of trouble. If not, this game is still being played. Ooh, no attack. Okay, so he is trying to stabilize here. I'm going to fetch because I know my top card is Basic Island. I don't want that shit. Draw for turn. A Wasteland. What does Wasteland do? Not much. Alright, well, I'll pay 1 extra actual mana to keep some semblance of Delirium in here. And I am going to attack with my Delver because double blocking my Murktide next turn is a way that he could deal with a 4 power thing. Or 4 toughness thing. So Brazen Borrower plus Bolt kills my Murktide. That's a 2 for 1 when he only has 2 cards. Alright, 1 to 5. He can clap me back to 7. The race is on. I'm out of useful cards. A lot of good draws in the deck, though. Both of our decks contain a bunch of Quarry Steel Cutters that are kind of medium when we're on low resources like this, but giving my Murktide +1/+1 and trample would be something I lean into here. Okay, he is racing now. After not attacking with Delver 2 turns ago, he is now attacking with Brazen Borrower. I don't love that. Wasting me in my upkeep, okay. We're doing 2 of those, sure. Another land. Alright, all I can do here is attack, and now that he's at 1, Wasteland's actually really good because he only has 1 mana to play this entire game on. Can't fetch anymore, can't force anymore. Can't play a Murktide unless it's non-fetch land Murktide in hand. He said, nice one, drew Murk in. Yeah, he drew his Murktide. and couldn't play it. Right, Pyroblasts, Unholy Heats come in, Hydroblasts come in, Force of Will, Force of Negation, these cards all come out. That's the easy mapping. I could probably shave a Daze. I'm on the draw, and these mirrors do tend to grind. Yes, 5.5 bad cards out, 6 great cards in. Let's do it. I don't have access to red, but my basic gives me confidence to play the game into Wastelands. He's got a fetch. Went for a red source because he has a red card. This is actually interesting. I am going to go for the Cheeseball Wasteland. Cards are just so good these days that, you know, maybe he misses, maybe he doesn't, but I could take one for the chance of the high roll one-lander. I ripped Hydroblast, which could deal with this Channeler at some point. All right, he did just have the next land ready to go. Preordained. Okay, his list is different than mine. It's not a card I'm playing. Preordained to the top. Bobble. Yeah, Preordained went top. Oh, that's interesting. Top, and then mill away the card that you just put there. I guess that guarantees Delirium in a spot where he doesn't necessarily think he needs Hydroblast. Sure. I'll buy it. All right, I'm going to go for Delver. I would like to be on the board. Bobble. I'm going to bobble myself on his turn to give myself 2 looks with Delver. Steam Vents. Okay. He is in a different world than me. Very different lists here. And he played Bobble last turn, which probably means he has another because he knew this Steel Cutter was coming. All right, now I'm in a lot of trouble. Under the Gun versus double pressure on the draw. If I had not wasted him turn 1, if I had just developed mana, this game would look very different. Oh, maybe that is a lesson to take. I've been playing a lot of Dimir Tempo where that might be evaluated differently. Okay, I'm taking a Trillion. Bobble myself. It is not a spell, which means when we get to my upkeep, I want to stack the draw before the flip. I draw the Delver, and then... Okay, I'll reveal Pyroblast. I can't play it, but I will show it to him. Ponder, I would really like to hit a land here, and I did. Sucks I'm going to have to shuffle away lots of good cards, but price of doing business. I actually just have to interact with Corey Steelcutter now, or I'm going to die. Okay, didn't get dazed, and I am on blocking duty. Yeah, killing Delver pre-combat. Pretty easy choice if you've got it available. This takes out half my life total and keeps all your threats alive. Even more coming my way. I'm going to be at 5. Oh, and the Wasteland. Brutal. Okay. Yep, this is the complete decimation. All right, GG. Game 1 was really interesting back and forth. That one was just running away with it on the play. And I don't think things change. Play versus draw. Just going right back in. 1 lander on the play. I'm going to keep... I can cast Ponder with this 1 land. And we've got a framework for that around here. And found land, double Delver. Don't shuffle. Play on. All right. We've got a copycat. Made a play so good, my opponent just decided to make it himself. Did not shuffle. I actually kind of want to make Daze look enticing here. Didn't fall for it. Pass the turn. Because I know my top of the deck is another Delver. All right, we're cutting some steel. I do not have the Daze for that. And I'm going to Unholy Heat this Monk. Any spell my opponent could cast right now would counter my Lightning Bolt anyway. It's not like I'm not playing around Daze by casting Unholy Heat. Okay. Don't like spending a real card on free material. Really, it's the second Monk that's the free material. As the first one, like the Corey Steelcutter, you have to invest that card to get the first Monk. The second Monk is the one that cooks you. All right, my opponent just saw the Delver that's on top of my deck. I knew that was there. I'm going to brainstorm now. Ooh, Corey Steelcutter. That's a long way off from being helpful. I put back Cutter and Heat. Play my other Delver. And I like my chances here if opponent doesn't Wasteland. That's the card I'm worried about. And he just saw me miss a land drop. If one of these Delvers dies, and it did, that gives me Delirium for the Heat that's on top of my deck. He targeted himself with Mishra's Bauble, which means he has a fetch land and not a wasteland. It got to my turn. He draws for Bauble. I reveal Unholy Heat to Delver. Draw that. Attack ya. Bolting my Delver. Okay. I'm going to brainstorm in response to that. If I find Hydroblast, that's something to consider. Okay. I'm going to put back... I could loot something away here to clear these cards, but I kind of like these cards. I can get my own Core Steel Cutter active next turn. I guess I'll put back Bolt, and mill one of them away. I have a lot of red burn in my hand, I guess is the problem, and not really sticky threats. I bolt to the graveyard, and I'll pass the turn. I can deal 6 to a creature if I have to. If he goes Murktide, Equip Cutter, alright, well, the second Cutter, scary. Petty Theft can permanently remove a monk in the future, but I don't have the mana for that right now. Core Steel Cutter is such a crazy dimension of this deck that it has these days. I mean, since the printing of Tarkir Dragonstorm. By these days, I mean. Okay, this does look like a Murktide, which will create 2 additional monks, in addition to being Murktide Regent. Nightmare Fuel. Proper Nightmare Fuel. Murktide is 5/5. I'm going to take all of this damage, and I'm going to Unholy Heat the Murktide in the end step. I did this with this timing, in case he had a counterspell for that. I didn't want the Prowess to also hit. Okay, my own monk. Bolt one of yours. And hope that we can grind this back somehow, but I am behind on both the raw monk count and on defense when everybody has Prowess. It's better to be on offense. If my life total can hold out this turn... Oh no, not a red spell. Don't bolt me, bro. Oh, that's worse. That's not actually worse. It's about the same. Alright, so I'm taking 8 trillion damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm at 3 against the Lightning Bolt deck. Oh, he has the Bolt too. Alright, yeah, sure. Alright, Core Steel Cutter demonstrating why that card is in this deck. GG's.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in the final mystery match. I have Tron, Force Blue card, Kozilek's Command, and Ugin. This smells like a keep to me. Moment of truth. Did he also choose Cephalid Breakfast? No. Alright. Are we poxing? Are we storming? What is this shit? Why is Bayou in your deck? Okay, I think I should lead on Tower, because Nexus has more synergy in this deck if I do get Wastelanded right now. Because I have Cloudpost and Towers that care about Nexus, but Tower stands alone. I wonder if this is some Worldly Tutor version of Reanimator, like still trying to make it work. And step into. Alright, Generous End. Cool. This could be some dopey version of Reanimator. In Worldly Tutor plus a Surveil land is a make your own Entomb. This could be some sort of Living End something or other, just some Sultai value deck. What are we doing? Found Tropical Island with the Forest Cycle and then cast Ponder with it. Oh, that's famously not Wasteland. Tropical Island and Wasteland, different cards. Pox wouldn't have Tropical Island in it, so we are in some sort of unexplored space. Bug Beans wouldn't have Generous End in it. Didn't shuffle his Ponder. Lucky. Right, I am going to hold up Kozilek's Command plus Force of Will and pass the turn. Worldly Tutor. We were right. Metamorphosis Fanatic. Alright, well, I have Force of Will and Kozilek's Command to fight that thing. I'm going to force pitching Lorien Revealed. I think I'm more interested in this Waterlogged Teachings between my blue cards that are available. They force me back. And then I'm going to exile X cards from graveyards, and target player scries X draws a card. I'm going to exile Generous End and draw 1. I should probably play around Daze here And if I happen to draw Force of Will, I have another send. Stock up. Yeah, I'll keep that around. Okay. Metamorphosis Fanatic resolves. Yeah, Worldly Tutor being Entomb with a Surveil land or Reanimate with a Fanatic is actually pretty dope. I could filter into the stock up, or I could just play a blue land. Blue land it is. Then Ugin shows up next turn to dominate. Force Negation pitching Murktide. Okay. Alright, I gotta take a beat from this 4-4, and then Ugin takes over the game. Wasteland and Thoughtseize are cards I don't want to see right now. I hate my life. Okay. Well, Waterlogged Teachings is a tutor for... What does that get? I have access to Dismember, Sink into Stupor, Kozilek's Command. My opponent is all the way hellbent in resolving a Ponder. We'll have a little bit of action left. One Ring's a banger. Did not shuffle Ponder. Ancient Tomb, okay. Waterlogged Teachings, cast it. I think I want Kozilek's Command. I can get to 6 pretty easily next turn. I can cycle it off if I get Thoughtseized right now. Pass the turn to me. Sink into Stupor. Cool. Alright, well, I'm going to Sink into Stupor now instead of Kozilek's Command. This is a less important card if it gets countered. Alright, sink that into Stupor. Putting that in the hand where you could Brainstorm it back to the top to Miracle again isn't free, but if it's out of play, make him do some loops. Alright, it's in the hand. There was some hesitation about that, making me think that he might have interaction, but just choosing where to put it. Alright, we're setting it up. There's not currently a monster in the graveyard, though. And he knows I have Kozilek's Command. And shuffled away the Brainstorm immediately, so that was not setting up a Reanimate. Tamiyo. I might just want to get rid of that. I will spend life to see extra cards here. Exile target creature, target player scries X and draws. I will continue to respect days. Force blue card, we're the last cards in the hand. Alright, deck, time to rip that one ring. Oh no. Alright, well, we're now behind against a Tamiyo. I was told this deck was banned. Fend off Reanimator for the first 7 turns and then suddenly Tamiyo is beating you. Drawn cards. KGC, okay. Can we win the game? Karn, please don't have Force blue card as your 2 random cards in your hand. Alright, sick. What is in my sideboard here? Liquid Metal Coating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah, let's just do it. Or Mycosynth Lattice, that's the one I meant. Alright, cool. Haymaker top deck at the end. This deck is supposed to be favored in those turn 7, turn 8 top deck wars, but being behind against a Tamiyo is scary. But you have so many rips. Cool. Okay. Do I even sideboard here? Fairy Macabres are clearly part of the plan. This stuff is all for Karn, and mostly doesn't get touched. Moonsnare prototype included. Do I think Barrowglyph is going to be part of a juke? It's possible. I think I want Force of Negations out, Fairy Macabres in. And is there anything else that I'm willing to cut for a Fairy Macabre? I like Force of Will because it works on offense and defense. I don't love a defensive Force of Will versus Tempo Reanimator, but I do love an offensive Force of Will. Like, if it pushes my One Ring through, I'm way more interested in that than trying to show down versus a Metamorphosis Fanatic when I could have something like Fairy Macabre or Kozilek's Command. Alright, I'm just going to bring in 2 Macabres. I'd make room for the 3rd against something more extreme, like Oops All Spells. Turn 1 Chalice. He did that to me this league. Might be my turn to get him back. Okay, he is on 5 over there to my 7. Tamiyo in before the Chalice. Ooh, alright, well. I still value Chalice over Dismember, but it's nice now having 3 answers to Tamiyo in my hand. And the Brainstorm to flip it option is off now. Thoughtseize, Worldly Tutor, Reanimate, all those cards are off. Okay, I'm going to pass, and when he cracks his clue, I'm going to Dismember Tamiyo. This is going to hurt, but this is the window I have to do this. I'm at least playing around days. I fetch an untap land, crack the clue, and take 8,000. Okay, Tamiyo is dead. And passing the turn. We game from here. I love being at 10 before my One Ring even goes on the stack. Do I even cast that thing? I think I'd rather stock up. Maybe I'm a big baby. This deck has Glimmer Post in it. Let's get some life back. I stock up Cloudpost. That gives me stuff to do forever. I kind of already have stuff to do forever. I could take Fairy Macabre to make sure I don't get clowned. Yeah, stock up versus Macabre is my choice here. I'm going to take the Macabre. I'm made of action right now. I'm not made of answers to reanimate. Undercity Sewer. Can this spike the nuts? Blind Militraxa. Blind Flip. Metamorphosis Fanatic. Uh-oh, there is a pause in the draw step. I do have to battle against this 4/4 now. And I will at least take Tamiyo with it. Macabre, take Tamiyo and Ponder. I suspect Murktide Region is more of a concern than Life from the Loam. Just thinking about what cards I should exile there. Alright, Cloudpost, and now I think I do want a One Ring. I'm taking 4 damage if I don't, I'm taking 2 damage if I do. Just put it in there. Get me paid. Life total is a concern. Orcish Bowmaster could be a card in this deck, I guess. Versus Tower, okay. Ring, found another ring, as they do. Alright, replacement ring. Ooh, we have a counterspell. Reforce and negating. Consign with kicker through the chalicing. That's legal. Okay. If I cast another spell here, I go to 5. I get attacked down to 4. So I am functionally at 1 on this board. Alright, I guess passing the turn is what I can do. Can't cast a spell, but I do get another draw 3 with ring before I die. I'm at 3. Do you have a Bowmaster? Something's happening. Okay, Ponder. Oh, or he's just setting up Murktide. Okay. I got a 1. I draw a card. I draw 3 more cards. I got Glimmer Posts. I've got Ugin. Okay. Glimmer Post gains me 3 life. Ugin on the stack exiles the Fanatic. And then Ugin can gain 3 life from his ability. And I have Force to back it up. We got the GGs. All right. Nice. Okay. A tight one with the ring, but the card's fucked. Let's go debrief with Andreas about these matches. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here.
All right, guys, we are back here. The Basement Boys are ready for the debrief after a grueling set in a totally fresh format. And first of all, good games, Brian. Those were some cool ones. I think we got a pretty good taste of what's to come in the format. I always love new challenges, new formats, stuff like this. So I've been in the brewery. What about yourself? What kind of brain chemicals did the announcement spark on Monday?
Yeah, it was not every card that I thought was going to be banned got banned, and then the card I thought was most going to be banned, which was Tamiyo, was not banned. So
yeah,
I was ready to be in a new format. The format is only kind of half new, but the things that are left behind have new rules of engagement around them.
Yes.
So we still have Tamiyo, but we don't have Tamiyo backed by Entomb Reanimate, which could be, not could be, it is a different animal. It might still be an annoying animal or a powerful animal, but it's not the same thing that it was.
Right. So there's a little bit of more, let's say, predictability. Okay, creature removal is going to be good against this deck, like category-wise, right? Where that dynamic was a little bit of a challenge before, where, I have the graveyard covered, but I guess Tamiyo is a one-mana must force now.
Right.
So that dynamic is kind of gone, right? Yep. So with that being said, our first matchup was me on the Eldrazi deck. That is almost unchanged, I will say. Usually I like being proactive in new formats, and you were playing what looks to be a blue-white. No, you had a black land in there. Was that for therapy, better endings? What was the black doing in your breakfast deck?
There's some black cards in the sideboard, but there's a Cabal Therapy and the Dread Return. It's just Larsen's list. I can't take any credit. Larsen, naturally, within 24 hours of the ban update, already had 2 trophies posted with Cephalid Breakfast featuring no Nadu. And as I've been saying, Cephalid Breakfast is a very old deck. It existed before Nadu. It existed before Thassa's Oracle. It existed before Dread Return. There's decades of old tech to reach for. And dedicated breakfast players, no hesitation, just right back in the new metagame without Nadu. And
Yeah.
Being a powerful, proactive combo deck with multiple fallbacks of Stoneforge Mystic and Urza Saga, that deck's still going to be good.
Right, because that was exactly the imbalance that I was facing when I was looking at my sideboard. Should I bring in Leyline? Should I not bring in Leyline? So I actually decided to not bring in Leyline. That's why I let you play it out in game 2, because I saw Cauldron Complete in your deck. So now all of a sudden you have this, let's call it a Tarmogoyf, for those who played Modern a decade ago, and that card was in Splinter Twin. You kind of have that plan, so mulliganing or drawing a brick was not exactly what I wanted, so I decided to sideboard with having essentially my aggro plan backed up by hopefully one piece of disruption, maybe two, between Dismember, Flute, K-Command, stuff like that. How do you like that approach from the Eldrazi side? Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think the Eldrazi deck, that matchup felt pretty tough. In one match doesn't tell the whole story, but just the idea of the deck that has the Thought-Knot Seer, the Chalice of the Void, and the Kozilek's Command in the main. And then, depending on how it's constructed, you could have any number of the Battle Mage, and then your sideboard's going to have Flutes. It's going to have potentially Leylines, Fairy Macabres, as much graveyard hate as you want. That seems like a challenging matchup for Cephalid Breakfast, especially if I don't scam you game 1 with a quick win.
Yeah, we did see some, also just the power of Thought-Knot Seer. You had a very redundant hand on one side of the combo, but only the Shuko as the, let's say, part B, right? Then the second one, let's see, how did you get through the combo there? I feel like you had a clutch removal for a Chalice, or was that game 3?
That was game 3. Game 2, you had a Kozilek's Command and a Disruptor Flute that I fought through, and then was able to just combo off from there.
Yes, that's true. You made the minus play onto the consign, and I responded. And yeah, that was a good one as well. Lots of good timings. The way you built up your mana that game, I thought you had back to basics in your hand. The way you kept fetching basics, I was like, oh, I'm going to get back to basics at some point, so I have to think about. So Ayavugan helped a little bit with that, of course. But then I let you mill out, and I saw 0. And then I was like, if your last card in hand was exactly a 1 of back to basics, no, I don't buy it. I don't think you have that card. But it was a pretty cool game of information gathering before scooping up the cards. Just a good lesson in general when you play against like Breakfast, Oops, Doomsday, stuff like that. You learn about your opponent's configuration before going to sideboarding.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be wastelanded. That's all it was. Fetching all those basics. Because game 1, I was playing on thin margins, and your wastelands just... you wasted my white source when I went for the Stoneforge Mystic, and then it set me back from having 3 mana to Shuko Illusionist you all at once, and then even the second wasteland put me in a spot where it cut my outs significantly. So that was that's all I was doing. Though I was talking about, while I was sideboarding with that, how far the deck can go into Blue-White Stoneblade, like how many Narcomoebas, Cabal Therapy, Shukos can you cut and still have a functional deck? And the deck probably could be constructed in a way where you have sideboard back to basics, or a second thing to get, like a pre-war form aware, or something to do with Stoneforge. I don't know that's the best way to build the deck, but certainly respecting it in an open format is worth thinking about.
Yeah, I liked it a lot on paper. You have the Tameo, that's a must kill. If Stoneforge goes and gets Cauldron, that's also a must kill, and then you still have your combo. So it's like all of this diversion with the 1-2 punch. So, and a stable mana base to boot. So yeah, I like it a lot. I was excited to see it do well out of the gates in the new format. All right, second match was the Delver Mirror, which I was pretty excited to see the bubble get cracked turn 1. I have good memories of matchups like that. Our games, I'm not sure were that great. Maybe games 1 and 2 were like pretty, being on the play, leveraging that as who's the attacker and who's defending. And then I guess the Corey Steels got a little bit out of hand in game 3. How was that match from your side?
Yeah, that was my experience as well. I've played a lot of Delver since 2011 when Delver was printed, almost 15 years of that. Very familiar with those play patterns, and generally, if there is a fucked up trump card in the matchup, it gets banned. Like your Psychic Frog, your Ragavan, your Ren and 6, your Dreadhorde Arcadist. Like going back, the fucked up trump card usually is a bannable thing, and it's a temporary problem. But Corey Steelcutter is completely appropriate. It's not going to get banned in Legacy. It shouldn't be banned in Legacy, and it is a fucked up trump card in the mirror if you can't answer it. So the traditional heuristics of cut all your forces in a Delver mirror and now there is something worth forcing, even in the post-board games. And that might be needed to be addressed with Hydroblast and Abrades out of the sideboard, or it could be addressed by you just leave in 1 or 2 forces in case there's that emergency button to push.
Yeah.
Or maybe you
How
just
many
mulligan.
of those? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe you just mulligan to a spot where if you're on the play, make sure you have days for their second turn or something, or prioritize your cantrips to make sure you can handle that.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. I'm not super excited about any of those options you just outlined.
Yeah,
so my solution is the 2 Hydroblasts I think are somewhat stock, even though we're not exactly in an established metagame, but I just expect those to be good. And then I play double Abrade as like my Chalice answer, so I don't play anything like Meltdown or whatever. That's like a hedge that I'm happy with. Some of the other stuff, not so much.
Yeah, I just grabbed a list from yesterday's 5-0 deck dumps, like the people who have already put up post-ban trophies, and my list was not playing Abrade, and I think it should be.
Yeah, I just expect that card to be good, and I want the deck wants to kill Chalice, right? So there's kind of some certainties, or as close to it as we can possibly get. So yeah, that card gets out of hand in game 3, and there was a little bit of Monastery Mentor, Young Pyromancer. Just harder to kill. Doesn't die to Lightning Bolt, right? You had to point removal spells at those monks a few times. That's not exactly where you want to be either.
Yeah, I wish that was Young Pyromancer and not Quarry Steelcutter. I would have been okay versus that card.
Yep, no doubt about that. So that gets the job done. And then for the last one, I was playing my spicy ace up my sleeve, which was the Sultai Reanimator deck that I've been toying a little bit with the last couple of days to try and make sense. Worldly Tutor, Surveil Lands, couple of Fanatics, trying to build my own good situation there. But you had me covered game 1. You had a sweet one.
Yeah, I have heard people talking about, and I've mentioned in, like, this is the 3rd post-ban video I've done between my own ban reaction on the channel, recording the Eternal Glory podcast last night, and now I'm talking to you about it. I have mentioned Worldly Tutor several times with Surveil Lands, but I had not connected that Worldly Tutor is also Reanimate with Metamorphosis Fanatic. So Worldly Tutor being Entomb and Reanimate as the same card with just a little bit of help is very cool. That's an angle of the deck that I hadn't considered and was very impressed by. But yeah, I was playing Dimir Cloudpost, a deck that I have a lot of respect for. I don't think I've ever beaten it as when I queue into it randomly in various leagues. I mean, I'm usually not just grinding tier 1 decks on my channel, so that might be part of my problem against Dimir Cloudpost, but that deck just goes so big so fast. It has the Force of Wills to back it up. It has Chalice early, Force late, stock up, One Ring, Ugin, gets to play Kozilek's Command. There's a lot of main deck hate for a lot of stuff in that deck, and it doesn't give you much time to figure out what your second wave is, because by then you're facing down an active One Ring or Ugin.
Yeah, certainly. That deck is super scary. I think it's, of course, it hammers home the point when you have the Nexus Tower opening. Then from there, the World's Your Oyster. I was very happy with my position because I had, let's see, I could put 9 power on turn 3 with double force backup. Problem is, one of those forces were a negation, so you had me covered with your K-Command force draw. And then from there, your deck is obviously the better deck. Like, you'll win 9 out of 10 times after that exchange. So that was pretty sweet to see. Chalice crushed me the next game. It basically just made my hand a mulligan to 3. And I guess Dismember was the nail in the coffin when you managed to kill the Tameo. That was kind of my only out. You saw I started jamming Ponders into the void, and it was desperate times trying to get to a Murktide and stuff like that. It got a little close, I would say. Did you end at 1? Yeah, I think you were at 1 maybe.
Yeah, I was at 1 with the One Ring, and when you countered my second ring, so I couldn't reset and get the fog, I was a little worried, but then I was still just calling out all the life gain in the deck. There's the other 2 rings, Ugin, Glimmerpost. There was a lot of game to still play there, and the draws 4 through 6 off the One Ring. It was hurting me. I did go down to 1, but I also drew 6 cards, and one of them was Glimmerpost, which got the Ugin going, and then we were good.
Yeah, so all in all, we decided today to kind of go a little bit away from the, let's say, unestablished stuff and into what we actually think will be at the top tables. I guess a little bit of spice in there, but still mainly trying to focus on that. I have a showcase coming up this Sunday, and there's Eternal Weekend EU on the horizon. If you're naming 5 decks, what are the top 5 decks to beat in the couple of next weeks to come? I know it's a kind of a tough question.
Yeah, the 3 that I named on the Eternal Glory podcast, we did the same exercise, was Izzet Delver, Mystic Forge combo, and Cephalid Breakfast were my 3. And then I have a ton of respect for the Dimir Cloudpost deck. That's why I picked it. And then there are a handful of, in Ancient Tomb, the entire macro archetype was untouched. You could play Red Stompy, you could play Eldrazi, like all of those decks are still out there. But yeah, I think that the tempo decks, Izzet and Dimir, both lost tough matchups, and now they've improved their position. And then how they play against the field, like being Izzet versus Dimir is a real decision now. And then we have to see what the field becomes, because there's Reanimator was a bad matchup for all the second tier combo decks, like Doomsday, Show and Tell. All of those decks are now going to be top tier combo decks again, where maybe I want Thoughtseize. But if everyone is playing Mystic Forge combo with their Ancient Tombs, I'd rather have Lightning Bolt and Wasteland and
Price of Progress and faster clock. Yeah, certainly. That's exactly what I'm trying to monitor here. So first of all, I'm trying to guess it right in the short term, but then I'm going to react to it, and that's the train that I enjoy being on, always just reacting and trying to be one step ahead. So yeah, it's exciting times. I think no matter what they did on Monday, any unbans, any bans would just lead to a lot of excitement. So maybe that's a lesson for the future, that they don't necessarily have to get it right, but people like changes in general and just non-stale metagames. Because I've really been enjoying getting into the lab and trying to theorize and making the most of the New World Order.
Yep, Legacy is undeniably different, very different than it was 4 days ago, and that's a fun place to explore.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm not going to hold you any longer, Brian. I had a lot of fun, and thank you for the quick rescheduling so we could get this out in time before MTGO downtime was gonna cut off all the fun. It was awesome. I'm looking forward to next month, where we maybe can actually go in the basement and not into the living room like today. I'm sure there will be a metagame next month that we can then pick decks that are out of it. But exactly,
when there is no metagame established, this felt like a better use of our time, and our viewers are probably more interested. So the basement today is on the ground floor.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. I had a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. And Brian, you can have the last word.
All right. Well, if you watched on my side, go check out Ecobaronen. If you watched on his side, come check out BoshNRoll. Both sides of the matches are live now. And thanks for watching. See you next time.